Oh, welcome everybody. How is everyone today? I am absolutely cooking. It is sweltering, isn't it?
It is warm. Oh, excuse me, sorry about the heat making me yawn.
No, it's the heat making me. So, first of all, can you all hear us? That's the main thing. Can you hear me? And also, can you hear
me?
The lovely Louise. Wow, a Christmas tree and so early. Oh, we're talking about Christmas trees.
Well, there's a reason for that. We'll come to that now.
Oh, all right. Good. Everyone can hear, I hope. Yes, we are good. Yes, we on? Good, good. Thank you. Excellent. Good. So, welcome to our latest Q&A. Just got one major thing we want to talk about, don't we? Not the answer phone message just kicking in, but there will be no Q&A next Monday, because next Monday Louise and I are on our way to London for three reasons. First reason, it's Louise's birthday on Tuesday.
Yeah, but that's not the reason we're going, is it?
It's one of the three reasons that we're going.
It just happens to be my birthday when we're there. Thank you, though. I mean, I'll take that all day long, but yeah.
Yeah, so it's Louise's birthday next Tuesday. The Wednesday and the Thursday is the trade show in the XL. So if you want to come and see all the exhibits in the XL in London Docklands, register for your ticket. Just search for the Jewellery Show London 2023 and you can register. We still haven't got our tickets yet, but we must do them because they're building outside, because we are going to be on HS Walsh's stand and we are going to be there demonstrating tools, doing whatever you want us to do. We can demonstrate tools, we show you what to do, we'll have a chat. We can have a chat about all sorts of things, and everybody who comes along, I'm expecting only about 3 people, to be honest.
Are you? I'm not.
Are you? Okay. So at the show, we're going to be giving away a few things. We've got, it's not a blankety blank checkbook and pen. It's nice gel pens. I do love these gel pens. They got one of these little rubber tips on the end there that you can use on your iPad and things like that. So we got At the Bench pens. We've got Louise's favourites. We got some At the Bench stickers to give away. Ooh.
Please don't stick them around the exhibition, because we might get into trouble.
I tell you what we could do. We could have a competition to see where people stick them. The most, how about...
Isn't that called fly postering or fly posting?
Fly posting? Okay, we won't. We're giving away our...
Sorry, just leave that one out of the water.
You killjoy. This is nice. We're giving away some of our workshop reference charts, so we're giving away some of them. And to the very special people who really treat us well, I'll say that, because we don't have many of these, because we're going up on the train and that means I have to carry these in my case.
Why don't we just not get the train?
I'm not driving. No way, Jose. We have got, let's just make that. No way I'm driving to the other side of London with the ULED charges and all those sort of things. No chance. Yeah, we've got At the Bench sketchbooks. Yep. These are lovely, cool ones. They've got the little elastics that come over
They're nice
to hold it.
Touchy-feely cardboard as well, aren't they?
They are nice. And
was it suede-ette?
it's suede-ette, you're right. And the pens.
Like
This pen is a bit awkward to get in. Anyway, yeah, it goes in the bit on the, yeah, you get the general gist of this. So we got all these to give away. These are going to be very limited, so only the people who treat us well, perhaps bring us coffee or something like that. We've only got a few of these left, because, as I said, we are going up on the train because we don't want to battle the charges and congestion charges and parking charges and all that sort of thing. So yeah, only got a few of them available. So only the very kindest people are going to have them. So yeah, so come and see us at the jewellery show. A few people have mentioned it on Instagram already, say they're coming to see us. And come and see the new products on Walsh's stand as well. We're going to be demonstrating whatever people want to demonstrate. Yeah.
So I'm just in how long of a train ride is that? It's about 3 hours, Cardiff to Paddington.
2 hour? It's a 2 hour.
I thought it was more.
I think it's 2 hour train, and then it's like 3/4 of an hour taxi then from Paddington to the other side, isn't it?
But getting around London is
a nightmare anyway, isn't it?
I think so, yeah. But then I'm like the little country mouse in the big city, and I just scared about everything when I'm in London.
I love London. I'd absolutely love it. So
and I can't abide it.
You can't abide it, but we were not.
I try and avoid the place. I used to love it when I was younger. I just found it vibrant, exciting. Everything was everywhere. I just wanted to be in it, and now I'm just.
Nothing's changed though, is it?
I step off that train at Paddington, and I'm instantly exhausted by everything that's around me.
I love the smell, the hustle, the bustle, the access to everything you could possibly want. I absolutely love it. Whether I'd want to live there would be a different matter, but I absolutely love it. Anything else we need to say, Louise?
I don't think so.
And then we're going. Oh, that's my phone. And also, Louise is going on a course on the Friday. Sorry, that was the second thing. The third thing, I did forget. The third thing is Louise is on a course on Friday to study and learn all about. Tell us, Louise.
It's how to identify lab-grown diamonds. Yes. With Julia Griffiths of the Gem Academy. So I'm really, really excited about that.
Booked the hotels, haven't booked the train yet.
Yeah.
So we have to get that done. Good. So I'm really looking forward to hearing what you've got to say about that.
I can't wait. Really good. Because funnily enough, we had a customer who came in with a 1 carat stone last week, and you were a bit like, I don't know, I think it's diamond. But we were like, we can't tell you whether it's lab grown or natural. I thought it was moissanite. So lab
grown, yeah. Again, the diamond tester says one thing, but you cannot always rely on these testers.
Yeah, don't rely on diamond testers.
So we're going to be doing that, or Louise is going to be doing that next Friday. So when she comes back, she'll be able to enlighten us on how the course went.
I will.
You've been wanting to get on this course for months.
I've been dying to go on for ages and ages and ages, yeah.
About a year almost.
Well, we buy and sell pre-owned, don't we? Pre-owned jewellery, vintage and antique, and
we need to start.
So yeah, it's essential, isn't it? It's something that we need to know more about.
Yeah.
And if you work in the industry, I think we all do, really, don't we? If you deal with diamonds,
because it could be anything now coming through that door.
Yeah, absolutely.
Scary business.
It is scary. It's an exciting and scary time, isn't it? But that's why you just need to take every effort you can to make sure you know what you're dealing with, and and do your due diligence, and then that's all you can do.
Do your due diligence. Let me
diligence.
just take you out a little bit. There we go. That's better. All right. So we're all done. Anything else we need to say, Louise, before we go any further with this?
No.
Anything? So yeah, Louise's birthday Tuesday. We got things planned for Tuesday. Trade show Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Julia Griffiths with you. That's going to be a good week.
It's going to be a full-on week, but a good week.
Monday to Friday, non-stop.
Yes.
Non-stop cocktails. Who knows?
Well, hopefully not on the course. Well,
it would be nice, wouldn't it?
One, yeah, but
good. All right. So shall we start? Anything else? I'm sure there's something else that we've got to say, but I can't remember. Nothing as far as I can remember.
Is it about the new platform?
We'll put something out on social. My dad's coming out of hospital tomorrow, Wednesday?
Wednesday. It was tomorrow. It's been changed. Unfortunately, he was told that it was going to be tomorrow, and then the plan changed. So I'm glad I'm not going to see him tonight, but I'm not going to
see him, and I've got to put up with him. Because
he's going to be absolutely tamping about that.
He is.
Yeah.
So yes, he was coming out. So the workshops are still up in the air because we really don't know how it's going to play out over the next few weeks. But as soon as we get our lives settled, because we're still going to see him every night, aren't we?
I think well, some of our days are disrupted as well at the moment, aren't they? But I think the polishing workshop, I can imagine us having to do that in December. Because the next workshop, actually, I think you guys were just chatting about this. Cosmin said, everyone here cranking out pieces for the Christmas season. And the next workshop, hang on, I'm in the wrong, yes, no, I'm not. The next workshop we've scheduled for the 2nd of October, which is on embellishments. Should give you some tips.
Yes.
On producing some pieces
unusual
for craft. I can't get my words out today. So hot craft fairs and things like that.
Yes.
So it's just simple ways and cost-effective ways, time-effective ways, efficient ways to elevate your work.
To lift your work, exactly.
So yeah.
2nd of October, is it?
Yes.
Glad you reminded me.
Yeah.
I forgot all about it.
I haven't. Okay.
Yes, I'm so busy. So should we start?
Good. Yes, please do.
Monday, the 11th of September. Glad you could join us. It's time for our weekly Q&A. Oh, and the other thing, there's no Q&A next Monday.
Yeah, you've already said that. But you didn't say when we were going to do it.
Yes. Sorry, thank you, Louise. So no Q&A next Monday because we're going to be travelling to London, but the Q&A will be on Wednesday. It'll be on Wednesday at 5 p.m. We'll put some graphics out on socials. And the only reason being is that as we're on Walsh's stand, I think the show closes around about 5 o'clock. We are then going to rush to the middle where hopefully they're going to have the free champagne like they did last year.
Andrew turned up with his mug, his Walsh mug.
My Walsh mug, filled it with champagne. Thank you very much. And we'll be doing a bit of a Q&A and a bit of a chat from the centre of the XL jewellery show. Fingers crossed we won't get kicked off. So don't tell anyone.
Yeah, we had a bit of an embarrassing incident last year, didn't we, where you got told off live on YouTube.
And I got
you wouldn't turn it off and you kept waving it round and then
the
you just pointed at the...
So no Q&A next Monday. It's Wednesday at 5 p.m. next Wednesday. Please join us then. So Louise, let us have our first question, please.
Okay, Beth's having a Christmas tree delivered.
Wow, awesome.
Gosh. Diana's just finished a setting for an aquamarine and CZ pendant, but it's still waiting on the post office to deliver CZs. Oh, that's annoying. Okay, happy birthday. Oh, thank you so much, guys, for all the happy birthdays. My birthday's crept up this year, isn't it?
It's the same time every year.
I know. Right, Laura K. Embarrassing question. A friend lent me her rolling mill while she's between shops and I'm afraid I'll break it. Silly. What would be a good, safe first thing to do to get me over that fear?
It's going to be really hard for you to break it. You didn't say what type of rolling mill. Is it a Durston? Is it one of the blue ones you can buy from Cookson? But they are pretty heavy duty pieces of equipment. It's going to be very hard to break them.
Should we just say the don'ts rather than the, I mean, I'll say a do, but
yeah,
one of the big don'ts?
Yeah, to do, you also have to tell me, is it geared or is it gearboxed? Gearbox or ungeared? Is it direct drive? Is it a gearbox? Is it a Durston one? Is it one of these blue ones from the Far East? Just let me know very quickly if you can, and I will carry on talking. Hopefully Louise can sort of jump in on that. So okay. What must you do? Durston, brilliant. Just use it. That's the only thing I can suggest. You can, again, has it got a flat? Has it got the V grooves? Because you can get some pieces of silver wire, take it through. It's going to be very hard to break it. Just use it. Just use it as you normally would. It's going to be very hard to break it. What you mustn't put between the rolls is something like titanium or cast iron, not that you would. You can put things, excuse me, like texture plates. You can put your silver through it. You can put silver and paper, silver to do texturing. You can do really whatever you want with it.
Is that a good safe thing to start with then, a texture plate?
Anything like that. You're going to find it very hard to break it, very hard to dent it unless you are putting stupid things through it, like don't put a file through it, don't put titanium through it. We've got mild steel texture plates. Put them through it. If you want to just be careful, you can put a bit of paper over the top. If you want to sandwich things together to put it through, but just put your silver through it. Just run with it. Just play with it. Get a bit of silver. Flat sheet. Put through the flat sheet. turn the handle, put it through, see how it feels, turn the top down, take it through a little bit more, make long sheet, get some square wire, put it through the V grooves to take it smaller and smaller and smaller, and just use it sensibly is the best thing.
Did you see our workshop? We did a whole workshop, didn't we, on
rolling mills?
Rolling
we did.
Mills. Was that, I can't remember. We didn't really do an awful lot of rolling, did we? It was introduction to the different types, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, we did. We did texture plates. We did.
I feel like we've done texture plates a lot.
We have. Yeah. But we did texture plates.
We did texture plates in the rolling mill workshop.
We did take it down square wire. We done flat sheet.
Yeah, so that's in the workshops tab, Laura. But if you are in any doubt, please do drop me a line via email, and I can get some answers for you if you're worried or want to just double check before trying something.
But you can't go wrong. If you're going to put silver through it, you can't really damage the mill with silver. The only way you're going to damage something is if you put the rolling mill under so much pressure and you've got massive, massive arms. Yes, Lou.
Important, Jill is saying don't lift it by the round wheel.
No, exactly.
Yeah. So that's a good don't.
Yes. So don't. Yeah. We never advise you by picking it up from the wheel. If you're going to pick it up, always try and hold it from under the extension rolls.
Thank you, Claire.
Don't get it wet.
Don't get it wet.
Just be sensible.
Yeah.
So so if you
nothing damp. Sorry. Thank you, Valerie. Nothing damp or fresh organic. So no leaves or like wet flowers, things like that, or damp with moisture in them. So nothing like that. As long
as if you do, you can wipe the rolls down afterwards. Yes.
Yeah. Thank you, guys.
Yeah. So just be sensible with it. If you're going to be annealing the silver, anneal it, then dry it off before you put it back in the mills. But as everyone says, just be sensible with it. Nothing wet. You can put grass through it, but make sure that you do perhaps put a light covering of oil on the rolls beforehand. Perhaps every night, just wipe the rolls down, put a very thin layer of oil over the rolls just to be on the safe side. But yeah, good, excellent.
Okay, that's good. Horatia, I got my jewellery show ID through the post. Really hope to make it on the Thursday. Major shoulder pain issues though. I'll try. I really want to go. Yeah, so
please. Yes.
So yeah,
please come along.
Please do come and say hi to us. We'd love to see you. Fred is saying hi, long time watcher. Hi. Short time making jewellery and tremendously grateful for all your advice and fun banter. I have bought a graver set and engraving is my next thing I want to learn. Oh, that's cool. Let us know how you get on, Fred. That's brilliant. Susan says, don't force the metal, Laura. Start with small increments that you can do. Yeah, good advice. Thank you, Susan. Then you make it. I have sent some pictures to Louise of the ring. Is it done? Made for a friend, Sandcastle, but I'm not sure if okay. I'm not plugged in, am I, for photos? I don't think so.
No, no.
I'll have a look later, Mini Maker, if that's okay. Okay.
Excellent.
David hates London as well. Brett's looked back on your old videos and seen how to prepare them, but now I want to practice on some silver sheet I've rolled. Any suggestions and tips for how to start?
I personally don't do any graving. Why? Because I have never learned how to do it. I can use the gravers. It's just a matter of making sure that the gravers are really nice and sharp. If you go onto YouTube, I'm sure there are lots of videos on YouTube showing you the basics on how to push the graver, how to flick up at the end, how to do curves, how to turn the piece and not necessarily the graver. There's lots of things on there. If you want to sort of use the gravers when it comes to stone setting, on At the Bench there's a few films on doing star setting, raising grains. I'm sure there may be even something on YouTube as well, setting stones, just raising grains. The thing to do is to get a piece of copper or a piece of silver and fasten it onto a ball vise. Is really a good thing to do because you can turn and rotate a ball vise nice and easy to get lovely even curves, and just practice. What I do, I would perhaps straight lines is going to be the easiest thing to do. So get a ruler, draw some straight lines and just practice doing nice straight lines, perhaps using a square graver so it's pointed this way. Just practice doing straight lines and then perhaps just doing gentle curves and so forth. But I'm sure there's plenty of things on YouTube. Or buy a book. There's a book. The NAG Press, National Association of Goldsmiths, the NAG Press, do one on a hand engraving. It's a purple cover.
Are they still called the NAG?
No, the NAG.
Yeah.
The NAG, but the books are NAG, N-A-G, an Association of Goldsmiths.
Ah.
And they did some books.
Okay.
Engraving book, yeah.
Cool. Good. Diane has just ordered an Oxycon and a Smith's little torch. Can't wait for them to arrive. Oh, exciting.
Brilliant.
Sandra's saying, I was making a pair of earrings, turned to solder one, and when I turned back to get its mate, it had completely vanished. My husband and I have both searched, no luck. Why does that happen?
Things happen.
It's weird, isn't it?
Perhaps when you turn, perhaps the torch tubing hit it. Perhaps it went down behind your block.
Do you know what I always
Perhaps it's in your turnips. What's that?
I always lose rings when I'm updating the website. I size a ring up here, and not customers' rings, and then I put the mandrel down, and then I'm like, where's the ring? And I'm looking everywhere, and it's gone, and it's on the mandrel in the drawer. Done that, and I've lost stones and found them in my dial gauge.
Oh, I often do that.
All the time, yeah. It'll be somewhere daft, Sandra.
Look at the most stupidest of places.
That's annoying, isn't it?
I
get so frustrated with things like that.
I remember I worked in a jewellery shop over Christmas, and I had a customer's ring and I accidentally dropped it, and I searched high and low on the floor, and it was in my turnips.
That's happened to Colin as well, isn't
turnips,
it?
Yeah.
How big are your turnips, Andrew? Right, I was making a pair of... Oh, I've just done that one, sorry, that's Sandra, cool. Laura's saying I have some silver scraps I could melt and try to make into sheets.
Brilliant, yes.
Yeah.
Do that,
that would be
melt
cool.
it into
That
sheets.
would work well.
Yeah, you can melt it into an ingot mould, or you can get your charcoal block, or just melt it into a blob on your soldering block. There is a limit to the thickness that you can usually put through the flats of a roller mill. It's normally around about 5mm. So if you've got quite a bit of scrap, I would perhaps, when you start to heat it up, squash it down with the back of your tweezers to make it a little bit thinner. Take it out, put it in your pickle, make sure it's lovely and dry, and then start to put it through. So yes, so open the rolls up until they're wide, put your metal in, put the rolls down by turning the dial up on the top until they just touch. Take your silver out, put it down about a quarter of a turn, and then take it through. I mean, don't take it through both ways, but take it through and out, quarter of a turn, through, take it out, quarter of a turn. Yes, excellent.
Is your mic inside out? What are you doing?
No, it's by there.
Make sure that you're,
Sorry. I'm absolutely, my t-shirt is absolutely...
Thanks.
I am absolutely boiling.
Moving on.
Moving on.
I'm casting some watch cases in silver, but it often bends. Direct 3D print to cast. Flat case back also flat cases back also bend. How to cast without flat pieces bending? Tolerances are tight.
I have no idea why it's... Is it to do... I would have thought it could well be due to the cooling of your silver, whereas when... How can I explain? When you lost wax casting, you've got your master down here, okay, and then your sprue comes up, and then you've usually got your excess metal on the top. So what happens, as soon as the mold, so the gold or the silver here starts to cool down, it shrinks, and as it starts to shrink, it brings some of the metal that is still up on the top of here, that is still molten, it sucks it in, all right, into here. But if you've got, let's say, a cross section through, I don't know, through a case, I don't know how it would be, say it's like this, okay, and there's your sprue coming off it, what you're going to find is that this area is going to cool and is going to shrink more than this area. So what you may find is that the shrinkage is not even across the whole piece, and as a result, if this shrinks differently to this, it may pull it. I'm just thinking, I can't understand how otherwise it would bend. So I'm thinking that the cooling effect is putting stress on this area, so when it comes out of the plaster, it'll then go back to as it wants to, and the back will be bending. I can only think it's going to be that. because these will cool different to that. Oh, that's a pathetic drawing, but I'm just showing you. Thick, perhaps this is the edge of your casing, this could be the back of your casing, and obviously this is like a cross section through, isn't it? Yeah, so this is the outer, this is the back. So this will cool better, quicker. That will cool quicker than that. Yes, so that's what I think what's happening. Sorry, I'm just waffling now. It's the heat, Louise, it's the heat. So another question.
Has anybody else got a problem with the sound? It's what kind of a...
What, the sound on me?
There's I think I can hear it. Like a whine. Is that what it is? There's something on this that's going, and it always has done. Oh, I don't know. Anko said it didn't fix the noise when you... I can't hear a noise. My hearing's not great, is it? We sat in the garden last weekend, and Andrew's daughter could hear...
I've ordered 2 new mics anyway.
It was a noise. It was something that people have in their gardens to deter cats.
It's the ultra high frequency, wasn't it?
Yeah, and the kids could hear it, but we couldn't.
Only the youngsters can hear that, Louise. Apparently. Yeah, we couldn't hear it, could we?
Went to too many gigs in the 90s, I think. My hearing's just...
I think so.
Yeah.
Shot. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Too many punk gigs.
Yeah, one then. Give us another one then.
Okay.
Let's just have a play on my microphone a minute.
I can hear something.
Yeah, your computer is on. That's obviously making a noise.
Yeah, but is the noise normally there?
Yeah, these are always on. Yes.
Okay.
So I don't know.
Okay. Helena says just tried tooth powder instead of Tripoli. I'm quite impressed with the results. This was to help a friend who is terrified of using proper Tripoli. Oh, cool.
Tooth powder. I've never tried tooth powder. Interesting.
Doesn't it come in like a big tin?
Why? Okay, so that's interesting.
It's quite abrasive, isn't it? So it should be...
Why would she be terrified of using Tripoli?
In case she got a Charlie Chaplin moustache like I always get.
Charlie Chaplin moustache.
Yeah.
Okay. So let me know why. why is she afraid of
every time?
You're right. Why is she afraid of using Tripoli? Terrified. I'm interested. That's interesting.
Oh, it's an intermittent crackling.
Oh.
A scrabbly, scritchy sound, rustling.
Is it yours then? Is it?
No. Oh, hang on. It says AF peak.
Let's have one. Let's get another one for you, shall we?
I can hear something though. It's like,
Plug that one in, look. No, keep it on.
Well, we don't know if it's this though, do we?
Yeah, keep it on.
This. What if it... okay.
No.
Okay. I've got a funny feeling this one's going to be worse.
Think so? Put it down, put it low down on your t-shirt. Touch it. There you go. Cool.
How's that?
Is that better?
I can still hear...
Yeah, we still have these on. We'll see.
Crackling.
Okay, good.
She's afraid of presenting the Tripoli stick to a running bath.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Just needs to get over the fear then, doesn't she? Good. All right, thank you.
Okay. So how is tooth powder? She's using a Dremel. So does she apply the tooth powder to the metal then, and then?
Perhaps she uses it wet.
Okay.
I don't know.
Could you apply you can't really apply the Tripoli to the metal, could you?
No. No. Okay. Good.
Just start off slow, I guess, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. It's like static. It isn't happening all the time.
Is that better now?
Is it better now, guys?
Is it better? Better. They're all okay. They're all okay. Try it now.
Okay, Francesco is saying, is it possible to file a crucible to make the exit a little narrower? Obviously, I will reapply borax after filing it.
No, you should not be able to file it. What your best bet to do is to get a very, very coarse stone wheel. I can see a reflection. I'm not quite sure what's happened today. I can see a reflection in my monitor right across
It's all kind of a bit weird
today. Yeah, you won't be able to file it. You won't be able to use it. You may be able to use a burr, but if you get a stone grinding wheel, that is going to be the only way you're going to be able to grind out a groove. It's got to be like a stone grinding wheel because crucibles are really, really hard. Yes, Louise.
Okay. Okay, Christian is saying, I have a question about soldering with binding wire. I'm worried that the red hot wire will melt into the silver. Any tips to avoid that?
It shouldn't melt into the silver actually, because the wire will get red hot and the melting point of the wire is different to that of silver. Check up on Google, what is the melting point of steel wire, what's the melting point of silver, and I bet you'll see that silver will melt at a lower temperature than the wire. I've never had any steel wire physically melt into the silver because the silver would be completely obliterated when it got to that sort of heat. Yeah. Yes, nice and simple that. Yeah,
good.
But again, don't put it in your pickle. Cut it off before it goes in your pickle. Yes.
Okay, Cosmin is saying, I'm setting up shop to make some C510 bronze lost wax casting. Yeah?
Yeah.
Flask temperature would be in the 1100 Fahrenheit, 600 Celsius range. Can use the red silicone gaskets, hoping to get about 10 uses at least.
Yeah, I find that the gaskets, for me, they do start to burn when my flasks are around about 600, perhaps even 550. When I'm not doing bronze, I'm doing silver, and I find they start to disintegrate. I haven't done much lost wax. I always try and do centrifugal. I'm not a fan of using the casting machines. I always do it centrifugally. I just love the excitement and the physical happens with that. I find that using the vacuum when it comes to cast is really boring. Lots of silver there.
Sorry.
So yeah, I would say you're going to get between 5 to 10 uses out of the gaskets. Yes, they don't last forever. Some people don't even use them because the vacuum within the chamber is greater than what sort of comes through the actual joint between the crucible and the rim. But yeah, you're not going to get many out of it. No. Exactly. Yes, no.
Okay, Grow Create Films. I am able to find silver solder easily. However, I am having difficulty finding gold solder for gold filled jewellery. Would you have any recommendations for gold solder? Gold filled is the same as gold plated, isn't it?
It's a thicker layer.
Thicker?
It's a thicker layer.
See, that's another term that confused me, like the pre-polished gold filled, because it's, I suppose, yeah, it's not filled with gold, it's filled with something else.
Yes. I don't know.
It's not like a rolled gold then.
It is like a rolled gold.
Is it?
Yes, it's like that, yeah. But the Americans usually have gold filled, yes.
Okay.
But you should be able to get, if you go to places like Rio Grande or you go to things like Otto Fry or Guess Wine, and I guess you're in the US, those are the places to go to get your gold solder, and you can get it in the hard, your medium and your easy. I don't use gold filled at all. I have a feeling that there's a chance that you're going to burn through the gold, or the solder isn't going to work with the gold filled. But try it and let me know how you get on. Yeah, but just go to the major suppliers for jewellery supplies, tools, equipment, and you should be able to get your gold solder there. Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Good. Is that help with the noise, the crackly noise, the changing mic, guys?
Is it any better?
Let us know, please. Jane says, last Q&A you mentioned a place to get an Oxycon, but I didn't write it down. I want to order one to pick up when in the UK. It's Tufnell's,
yes,
Jane, and I will just put it in the Tufnell glass.
Yeah. Brilliant.
Yeah. Iodanis is saying, I'm wondering how I could remove the red orange fire scale from bangles. I didn't have a big pickle container and now it's really hard to remove them with sandpaper.
Fire scale. Okay, so even if you put the piece into your pickle, I guess it's silver. Is it silver? Doesn't say. So, oh, I think an order went off to you today. Yeah. So you're physically going to have to abrade it. Even if you could put your piece in pickle, the pickle is not going to get rid of the fire scale. All it's going to do is going to remove the copper from a microscopic layer off the top of the surface. You're left with the fine silver. But as soon as that gets polished away, you're back through to the it's the heat. You're getting down through to the fire scale, and nothing will get rid of fire scale except hard work. Emery it away. That's the only way you're going to get rid of it. If you could send your piece away to a silver platers to have it plated, you can do it that way. But once you get fire scale, you really do have to physically abrade it, whether you use things like your buff sticks to go over it, a piece of emery paper to go over it, but I'm afraid you physically have to abrade it to get rid of your fire scale. Nothing else is going to get rid of it, I'm afraid. But what you've got to think about is can you prevent the fire scale getting on the piece in the first place? So prevention, as they say, is better than a cure. So try and protect the surface from the torch flame. The flame will heat the piece if there's a barrier in front of it. When I say a barrier, we would use some flux, we would use some borax or some liquid flux to paint on the surface. So when you heat up the surface, there's a barrier, there's something between the actual flame and the surface. It'll still heat up, but that'll prevent your fire scale, because the fire scale comes from the oxygen in your torch going into the silver, reacting with the copper, producing that oxide. Yes.
Good. Valerie says, I have a bronze piece that I would like to attach a silver back to. Start again.
It's
I have
the
a
heat,
bronze
isn't it?
piece that I would like to attach to a silver backing. I have gotten mixed information about soldering it. Any suggestions?
Bronze. I would have thought you could silver solder it. I'm sure you can silver solder it. I don't know if it's not very loud, but it's still there. Okay, I think the problem...
That was before. That was earlier.
Is it? Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Yeah, I would have thought you do need to follow all the rules when it comes to silver soldering. Oh my God, yeah. You need to have close fitting joints, perfectly clean, put some flux on it and silver solder it. I can't really say much more than that. If you do have a problem with soldering it, well then perhaps try and think of a cold connection. Perhaps you can try and rivet it some way, or cement it with epoxy resin on the back. I'm not quite sure. But I really can't help you with that. But all I can think of that is, yes, you should be able to silver solder it in the normal way. Definitely, yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good. So Jane has been asked to make her friend's wedding bands, which I haven't made plain rings for a gentleman before. They have given me some gold to melt down. Should I work on 5 grams per ring, doing half round?
I don't think 5 grams personally is going to be enough. 5 grams I would say would be enough to work on a ladies band, and expect them to perhaps come out with about 3.5, 4 grams max on that. But a gents band, I would double that. I would try and work with at least 8 grams. Especially
depends on the width, doesn't it? The width, the size, how heavy they want it.
Now, this is the problem that we are having at the moment in our workshop, is that we had a 35-year-old Durston mill, and I loved it, but I sold it. And with that mill, I had the extension rollers made in the widths that I wanted. With the new mill we've got, we have to have the extension rollers that come with the mill. There isn't a decent 5mm width, because the 5mm is too deep. And we run into problems because sometimes we have gold given us and they have a ring or 2 rings and it looks like there's enough metal for it, but they want a quartz section or they want a D section. But because our D section and quartz are pretty deep, there's not enough metal to go all the way around, or long enough to make that section. So what I'd advise you to do is make up the ring. Perhaps if you've got some copper wire, make it up in copper wire, or make it up in silver beforehand to make sure that you're going to have enough gold to do it. Because the D-sections, if you've got D-section rollers, you're limited to the section of the rolls, and because of that you're going to be limited to the length you're going to be able to roll out. So practice with a piece of silver to the width that the gentleman wants, the section the gentleman wants, or that you can produce. Make up the ring to the right size, weigh it, times that then by whatever the conversion rate is from silver to gold, and you should be able to have a good idea of what minimum weight you need to have that ring made. But I'd always allow a gram or two extra because you've got to cut the ends off to solder them together. So that would be my tip for that, because it does look very deceiving. We've got the D-sections, and whilst the D-sections look really good, they are quite deep and they do take up a lot of metal to make a ring. We've been caught out a couple of times, haven't we?
And I think our customers are always really surprised by the amount of choice that they have in terms of metal. Obviously, if they're supplying their own metal, that's different. But width, shape, flat, is it chord, is it D-shaped, is it? And they don't think about any. And our average customer doesn't think about any of that. And I wouldn't. No, I wouldn't have. And you get the box out, and they're just like, oh, okay.
Any of these? Wow.
Yeah,
yes.
So I think it's about communicating that to your customer as well, and what is possible, managing their expectations based on what they're giving you, and is that what they've got in their mind's eye?
Excellent idea. Yeah.
So we've got the box of blanks, haven't we, which we use all the time. Every time somebody comes in and says, I want a wedding ring, that box comes out. That's the first thing, isn't it?
To see exactly what they're after.
So that we're all on the same page, yeah.
Yeah, and even sometimes we fall a bit flat because they like a particular style, and we go, we can't really make that one, can we?
Yeah.
Or that we're limited by the equipment that we've got.
Yeah.
9 times out of 10 we're good.
Yeah, but it's just, so that, because if they're expecting something like mine, which is just completely flat, and you don't have the right conversation with them, then there's disappointment, isn't there?
Exactly. Yeah, so personally, yes, get more gold, because again, you're going to need at least, as Susan says, 5 grams work for smallish for man's ring. It's not going to be enough. You're going to need at least 7 to 8 grams minimum to get a decent D section. Yes, Lou.
Good, okay. Okay. Oh, then we were talking about the sound.
Sound is good.
Okay. Oh, my questions just jumped then. Good. Okay, that's fine.
Good.
Diane says, my friend won't use Tripoli or Rouge as she has a cream carpet. That's a good reason, yeah.
What's she doing making jewellery with a cream carpet?
That's going to, yeah.
Good.
Dances with our barks. Does anybody know if hot glue will work as an alternative to pitch for repousse and chasing?
Like a glue gun, I expect it would be, but it would be quite limited, I would have thought. But if that's all you got, give it a go, because you don't know until you try it. But I think a glue gun would be a good idea, actually. Or even if you could use some jet set, or you could use some thermolock as well. I know people have used that as well.
What's jet set?
It's like a thermosetting plastic. It's like,
is it in a syringe?
No, it's granules, white granules. You pour it into hot water, it becomes soft, and then you can mould it into a shape.
Just thought of another application for a dental product.
Yeah. Okay, tell me
I'll chat to you about that later. I don't know, well, we can't get it though, can we? Because they're licensed. Anyway, yeah.
Anyway, that's beside the point.
Okay. Julia saying, I'm wanting to buy a Fordham Flex shaft. What is the difference between the blue and red SR model, please?
Okay, so I read this, I think one is for the US, one is for the UK. The red one, again, okay, so the Fordham SR is made for 2 markets. It's made for the 240 volt UK market. One is sold for the 110 US market. The red label is the UK, the blue label is for the US. But they do an LX model as well. And as far as I've seen, the LX model, which does not have the higher speed that the SR has, but it has greater torque, I'm sure that has a blue label. So I think if it's an SR, and I would always go for an SR personally because it's got the speed, the torque I wouldn't really worry too much about, but the Fordham SR, red label, UK, and that's what to go for. But the blue should be 110. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's what it's all about. Yes.
Okay.
Louise, yes.
The puppeteer is saying, when I solder with Easy Flow, I sometimes get holes where the solder was. What am I doing wrong?
Easy Flow, as in Easy Flow solder? Is it a syringe? Let me know a bit more, because I need a bit more information than that. If you can just pop it into the chat a bit later, and I'll certainly answer it. But if it's a syringe, I would never use syringe solder apart from just on tiny jump rings. But yeah, let me know over the next few minutes. When you say Easy Flow, what would Easy Flow be in this country? I don't know. Let me know a bit more information. I'll certainly help you, yes.
Okay. Jane is saying, I saw a mill grain wheel to finish edge outside of bezel. Have you tried this?
Yes, you just saw the Metalsmith Academy as well on Instagram. Yeah, so what you got to do, a mill grain wheel, they are tiny. It looks like a graver, okay? So it's like that. There's a little hole here. It's like a fish, doesn't it? And in here,
an eel maybe.
An eel, yeah. And this then is a wheel, okay? This is the wheel that comes round. And oh, that's terrible. Does that? And on that wheel are slight depressions. Yep, and as you push the wheel, this rotates and it leaves a tiny little beaded edge like that. Yeah. Lee was doing this on one wedding ring that we had. Now, the problem is you cannot use that wheel on a flat piece of metal, because when the wheel runs over, and I'm going to try and, here's the wheel here, yeah, and here these the circles running down, yeah. So when you roll the wheel over the surface, here's your surface here, yep, and here's your depressions here, it's going to do nothing at all to the surface, because it's not, how to say, the edges here are too wide, and you cannot push the tool into the surface to make little balls, little dots. So the only way to do this is to make sure, and if you have, say, the half ET that I saw, it had a cross section like that, and the stones were here. Yep. So that's like a cross section through it, and the edges of the eternity ring. Okay, so these edges here, yeah, and your stones then were in place here. These edges are high like that, and now when you put the wheel over the top of that, this edge will then be made into little dots, because this edge is going into the dimples on the wheel, and then that edge then is being formed into little dots. And the same thing you can do if you've got a flat sheet of metal and you've got a graver. If you grave a line like that, okay, this is again a cross section through a piece of metal. You can roll the tool, yep, over that, and what you're going to get is a beaded effect running along. If you know what I mean. So yeah, you have to have something that's raised for those beads to push into to make the little dots on it.
So it needs to be an edge then.
And it has to be an edge narrower than the dents in the mill grain wheel. And this is like 2 millimeter, less than about 2 millimeter in diameter, 3 millimeter max. These are tiny little things, these are.
So a steep edge.
It has to be, yeah, it has to be a very, very thin, sharp edge. Roll it over the top and then you get your dots.
Okay.
It does it. It's a very, very attractive finish, I must admit.
Nice.
Nice one. Or if you just had the outside edge like that, yeah, of whatever, say a ring, you could actually roll it at an angle this way, yeah. So you just have a simple edge, roll it on this edge, it's an angle in this direction, and that edge then will have, as Louise says, it's got to be a sharp edge. This edge has to fit inside the little dimpled edges of the mill grain tool. Yes.
Nice.
Yes,
Sandra says, I bought one and so much tinier than I expected, I'll likely never use it. Have a go.
Have a go.
Have
They
a go.
they are tiny. You can get different sizes. I've no idea what the numbers relate to. I know you can get different sizes. I think I had a set of 6. To be honest, they all look the same size. They are that small.
Well, if they're that tiny, yeah, it's just a case
really
of
small.
experiment, isn't it? That's how you're gonna. That's how you're gonna get to know to use them.
Totally. Yes.
Cool. The puppeteer, yes. Easy flow silver solder, the small plates.
Okay, so.
Thank you, Beth.
So I would suggest Easy Flow silver solder. So I would have thought you're getting holes in it. But it sounds like you may be overheating it because there's alloys in the silver. The more alloy that's in the silver will lower its melting point that allows that to melt before the silver melts. But because of that, you've got a good chance of overheating that piece of solder accidentally. So that's what I would think. I would think that that solder is perhaps overheating. It may be slightly bubbling. The alloys may be bubbling slightly, which may be causing the little pitting. I was referring to something like an easy paste solder where the flux is already mixed up with the solder, and again what happens with that is the flux sometimes gets trapped in the solder, doesn't completely come out, and you do get what looks like pitting. But it sounds like you may have overheated it. So as soon as that solder melts, make sure it's gone all the way through, but don't keep putting more heat on it. Perhaps bring the flame back a little bit just to keep the same amount of heat on the piece to make that piece soldered, but don't heat it anymore. Yes, Louise.
Good. Grow Create Films. A question about polishing. When does one use a tumbler device with metal pieces versus a Dremel with bits? Would jewellery break in the tumbler?
Actually, for me, the jury's out when it comes to using a tumbler. There's only one instance when I would use a tumbler, and that is on areas that I physically cannot get to with a mop or a brush or a pencil tip, hair, goat's, whatever, brush. For instance, if I had a chain, if I was making, you may have watched one of our workshops, making up these Celtic style links like this, yeah? So trying to clean up a link like that with a Dremel is going to be very difficult. That is the only time when I would use a tumbler. I would put that in a tumbler because I know the shot can get in all these areas. And likewise with a magnetic polisher, that would be the only time I use a magnetic polisher, is to try and polish areas that I cannot get into. What I would, I'm getting quite frothy here now, what I would never use a magnetic polisher for is to polish areas that I can polish by hand. You're going to get a far better result by polishing things by hand than with a barrel polisher, barrel tumbler, yeah?
Do you remember that time I spent ages polishing up my castings?
Yeah.
And then you put them in the magnetic gizmo,
Mm.
and they came out and they were just not back to square one, but certainly back a few steps, weren't they? Yeah. Wasn't happy with you that day.
But no, you will not get a better finish by any other means unless you do it by hand. By doing it by hand, you've got complete control over every little aspect. You put it in a barrel.
It's just more satisfying
as
well,
well. A
isn't
barrel polisher doesn't polish. This is what people don't understand. It doesn't polish. It tumbles and it burnishes. If you've got marks and file marks in your piece, it won't get rid of it. It just rolls over and it rubs the surface.
So what's it good for then, rather than let's
Things
focus
like
on the
chain.
Okay.
I would put one there because those little pieces are going to get inside the links. The links are all going to be spinning around and they're going to be bumped.
So if you've got something with lots and lots of crevices, would it be... I suppose your white nylon brush should come into play there.
Again, if you've got your Dremel, there are loads of tools that you can use the Dremel that you can polish professionally with. Even though it's a Dremel, you can still get fantastic results. If you can do it by hand, excuse me, do it by hand. If you physically cannot do it, people just chuck things in it in a barrel. It's great because it saves time, but you will not get the same degree of finish or polish in a barrel as if you do it by hand and go through all the proper polishing procedures using your fast cutting compound. I've started saying that today. Your fast cutting compound, which is Tripoli or a pre-polish.
Why have you started saying that?
I can't tell you on air.
Oh, just for clarity. Just for clarity.
I can't tell you on air at the moment. Yeah.
I think I know.
Yeah, and then I was been using once you've gone through that, then I would use a rouge or a final polish that produces the highest, deepest luster, beautiful shine. That's what I would do.
But if you don't want that, if you don't want a perfect mirror finish...
Yeah, if you don't want that...
If you don't want that, then barrel polish is great, isn't it? If you want... Yeah, and some jewellery does lend itself to that look anyway, so...
Yeah, people think it work hardens and it goes in a barrel. It doesn't work harden. So, you see, I have only used a barrel polisher about as many fingers I've got on my two hands. Literally.
So I was unlucky then, wasn't I, when you chucked all my stuff in there?
That was a magnetic polish. That's completely different. That is.
It was a new thing, wasn't it? And I was like, what happened to all of these?
but you can go and buy tools, mops, brushes, white nylon brushes. Go on our store, atthebench.store, buy some white nylon brushes. You will get a better experience, both, because Louise just said, you get a better satisfaction out of...
This is what James is saying, more satisfying than to press a button. Yes, yeah.
It doesn't work. Press a button. Oh, no.
Well, it works for some people, and we're not here to judge, are we?
No, we're not to judge. But that's my personal opinion, yes.
Yeah, does it take some of the legwork out of it if you're finishing lots of pieces? Suppose you've got a lot of things that you need to finish for like a show or a craft fair.
Yeah.
Does it take some of that initial stage, that pre-polishing? Does it assist with stages?
So anything that comes out of a barrel, I would still polish with the rouge.
Yeah, but does it mean that you've got less work to do with your rouge and your white nylon brush or whatever you're choosing to polish with?
Yes, but it's marginal.
Yeah.
but it's marginal. But it's not, for me, it's not worth the effort. If you can polish it properly. But even if it goes in a barrel, it's not polished.
It's not finished, so but it does expedite the process.
For me, it'd be minimal, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's great if you've got things like.
Can you not just leave it in there longer if you've got lots of things?
It doesn't work because if you think about it, you've got metal shot hitting the surface, and every one of those is gonna perhaps even slightly dent the surface because it's not. It's smooth like this. It's the shot's coming over and it's denting. It's burnishing, but it's denting. But I would still polish it with a rouge mop afterwards, and you'll be amazed at how beautiful it comes up.
But it depends what you're making, as I was saying, because Horatius said the tumbler is wonderful for my metal clay pieces because the texture.
That is what I was going to come to, because metal clay, it's brilliant for because.
But then there's lots of other designs as well that
it's very hard to get
work well
a perfectly smooth surface on metal clay.
Yeah.
But that is perfect for it.
But if you like your tumbler, then yeah,
crack on with it.
Great. Yeah, if it works for you.
Exactly what I was going to say. If it works, don't.
I like to see it just like developing
in front of
my eyes. Yeah. Yes. But then I'm still new to it also. Yeah.
Good. Last question. If you can.
I'm going to just jump to James's question.
Yes.
James has just bought a dapping block and goldsmith's hammer.
Yes.
Shall I keep it lubricated with oil, or is it okay to wipe it dry and use? Yeah.
Yeah, so you're on about the dapping punch, dapping block. Yeah, just wipe it with a slight oily rag. Perhaps what you could do is get perhaps an old duster, an old piece of cotton and a piece of sheet, a piece of pillowcase, something like that you can wrap your dapping block in. Make sure that sheet is slightly oily, and then you can just wrap up your block within that, knowing it's not going to get rusty or anything like that. Obviously then make sure that nothing is wet going into the little holes, otherwise it's going to rust if it's steel. But yeah, always wipe it around afterwards with that cloth, wrap it up in a nice oily rag, and you should have no problem at all.
Good.
Is that all right?
I think so.
We're going to have to disappear now. Christmas tree is delivered, however, not up yet.
Ooh.
Wow.
Good.
Shall we go?
Beth,
yes, thank you, Beth. Thumbs up. Apologies, we have to rush because, again, as I said, my father is getting better. He should be out on Wednesday, but I have to go down and see him now and make sure he's okay. Put up with the barrage of... He's a funny boy.
He's hilarious, isn't he?
He's funny, isn't he? Every time we're down there, he always says something, does something that makes us laugh. And sometimes we go, oh.
Sometimes we're going, oh my God, I cannot believe you said that. But he's nearly 101. But what was it last week? You get my bed downstairs, and you get things moving, and you keep things moving. Yes, sir. Now go.
We spent the whole weekend trying to transform his house so we could have the bed downstairs.
He needs to get out now though, because he's getting too used to, and obviously people want to do things for him and we do things for him, but he wants to be shaved, and he can shave. He's capable of shaving and putting his cardi on, but he's just kind of getting a bit too used to having it all done. And it sounds cruel, but the reason he's done so well for so long is because he's
very independent,
kept going, and he's independent, and now he says, I don't want to shave myself, I've done it for 100 years. But we kind of, we do look after him, obviously, but we can't do everything for him, because I'm scared that that's what's kept him going, and if he doesn't do it, then he...
Exactly. It's kept him going. So, and he can do these things easily. He just likes other people to do them now. So now's the right time for him to come out. It is funny. It is funny. So everyone, thank you very much for joining us today. Don't forget, our next Q&A will be Wednesday at 5 o'clock, live from the XL in London. Hope you can join us then. Thank you for all the birthday messages for Louise. It'll be a birthday week.
Thank you, guys.
Yes.
Oh, Clay, happy 100th to you and Honour. That's so lush. Thank you, guys.
It's amazing. You'll have the the telegram from King Charles.
Yes.
He's put it back in the envelope and left it on the mantelpiece.
No, he was more impressed with Charlie's card, get well soon card, wasn't he, than he was from
my son's.
Right,
good. All right, everyone, join us next Wednesday, 5 p.m. Q&A live from the XL. We'll update you with some lives as well during the Wednesday and the Thursday from Walsh's stand. If you're able to make it to the XL, please come onto the stand. We would absolutely love you to. Love to see you. As I said, we got some goodies to give away, and the best people who come and shower us with coffee and things like that, there may be an atthebench.
You are shameless. Absolutely shameless.
There's no harm in asking. I may be going home with all my notebooks. You never know. So everyone, come along and see us, and we will reward you handsomely. But in the meantime, we'll see. Right, Louise, say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Everyone, take care. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.